3 months ago, my skin was not looking too good. My acne scars were more noticeable than ever. I had bags underneath my eyes, and honestly, I just felt insecure. Fast forward to today, my skin is looking better than it has ever had. So here is everything that I did to fix my terrible skin. The first thing I started to do is prioritize my sleep. Sleeping was always an issue for me. I would either undersleep or oversleep. And trust me, that is a real thing. As much as it feels good, it is not healthy to be sleeping about 10 hours. I woke up feeling even more groggy, and throughout my entire day, I was lazy. But that's besides the point. I was developing really deep bags underneath my eyes. And let's be real, this just does not look good. Lots of people like to debate whether it's better to wake up at 6 a.m., 9 a.m. Again, it depends on your schedule. If you go to school at 8 a.m., obviously 6:30 or 7 would be your best bet. But the thing is, everybody has different things to do. Some people like to go to the gym first thing in the morning, so at 4 a.m. The main thing that I did to fix my sleep schedule is prioritize what I wanted to do in the morning and made sure that I had proper time to get ready so I could tackle whatever I needed to do. So for me, on a normal day, I would wake up about 8:30 a.m. and I usually go to bed around 11. Now, that sounds like 9.5 hours of sleep, right? Well, the thing is, throughout the night, you are gonna wake up for certain periods throughout the time. So just because you were in bed for 8 hours does not mean that you fell asleep for 8 hours. That's exactly why I like sleep trackers so much. It tracks the real amount of time that you get really sleeping rather than just doing your best guess, because there's been times where I've been in bed for 9-10 hours and I really only had 6 or 7 hours of real sleep. Now, I'm not a sleep doctor, so I don't really know what's the healthiest, but point is, all this stuff has helped me get better sleep. Not only did it give me more energy throughout the day, I started to relieve the bags underneath my eyes. Other than that, you could use eye serums. These help a ton, but we'll get into skincare products later down the road. The next thing I did is clean up my diet. Now, this should be so obvious, but everybody loves to forget that everything you put in your body is going to show up in your skin. Okay, maybe not everything, but if you eat bad food, you're probably gonna have bad skin. That's just the reality of it. So if you're always eating processed foods, fast food, things that are clearly not healthy for you, it's going to show up when you look in the mirror and your skin doesn't look good. And look, I know, I love burgers, I love fries, probably more than you. It's not a competition, but I have no problem eating this every day. But do I do it? No, especially now that I've been trying to lose weight. All this stuff has been cut off. And the first thing I noticed, even before I started to lose weight, my skin started to clear up, it became softer, and I avoided breakouts a lot more. Also, try to put a mental note if you ate anything out of the ordinary and saw some breakouts the next day. For example, for some reason, I have been loving chocolate lately. Now, my main issue when it comes to foods is I've always had the worst sweet tooth. But I noticed when I have too much chocolate, the first place I see it is my skin. I start breaking out mostly right here. And look, this is completely normal, and everybody reacts to foods differently. I know plenty of people that break out as soon as they eat too much peanut butter. Again, chocolate is a common one. Some people break out when they drink whey protein powder. It is different for everybody, so really reflect on your diet to see what could possibly be the main reason why you're breaking out. You got to eliminate that from your diet. Of course, sometimes it's a little bit easier than other. For example, it is not necessary by any means to eat chocolate, so cut that out my diet and it was fairly easy. But sometimes it is harder. If protein powder is making you break out, then you have to experiment with different ones. For example, plant-based might be better for you, even though if you haven't tried it already, plant-based protein tastes like absolute chalk. So it's not part of my diet, but it possibly might need to be in yours. Another thing to avoid is caffeine. Now look, I am 21 and my first pre-workout that I ever bought was when I was 16. That means for the last 5 years, I've been heavily addicted to caffeine. I truly don't know when is the last time that I spent a full day without caffeine. I know it's terrible. I am an absolute fiend, but that's just the reality of my day-to-day life now. But whenever I start to have an excessive, and let's be real, for me, excessive really means excessive amount of caffeine, then I notice I start to break out. And to this day, I still take pre-workouts. Some of these have a ton of caffeine. So if you're struggling with the same thing, here are a few alternatives that I've tried in the past. So most pre-workouts have caffeine if they are a stimulant. So if you're cycling off caffeine, try to look for something that's non-stim. Energy drinks probably shouldn't be in your diet, but for me, they always have been. And just downright coffee. I love coffee and I drink a cup every morning. Sometimes I'll have my period of times where I chill out from caffeine, but for me, it is extremely difficult to completely cut it out. Again, it all depends on your day-to-day life and if you can manage completely cutting it out or doing some alternatives like I just named. That being said, the main thing you should be drinking is water. And when I started drinking more water, I felt like my face started to have this kind of shine or glow to it. And I think this is the main thing that really started to show up in my skin. When you drink an excess amount of water, you start to flush everything out, which means any toxins and bacteria is going to be flushed out your system, overall making you more healthy, and that shows up in your skin. For some reason, I used to think that 64 ounces was plenty. Then I looked up, what should the average man be drinking? They all said about 128 ounces. So I was quite literally drinking half of what was recommended. Ever since then, I started to step up my water game. I've been drinking a ton, and again, it really has been showing in my skin. The next thing is better skin products. When I first started getting into skincare products, of course, I wanted the cheapest option. Especially as a teenager, I didn't have a ton of money. That's completely normal. But you really have to think about it. A lot of these products that you find at drugstores are extremely cheap, but why are they so cheap? All these products need to make a profit margin, obviously, because they're a business. A lot of the things that you're going to be putting on your skin are synthetic and just not natural. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it could do a little bit more harm than good. So when I made the switch from drugstore products to real natural skincare companies that have been proven to be effective by countless reviews, and again, you should try to look at reviews that aren't paid to really determine which company you should try out. And from there, it's all trial and error. I have tried out plenty of different brands, and some of them were good, and some of them were okay, and some of them have completely changed how my skin looks. I've always liked T. Hanley. I have worked with them in the past. Right now, this video is not sponsored, and I'm still recommending them regardless. But as of recently, there has been 2 new products that I bought, and these 2 products have single-handedly made the biggest difference in how my skin looks. In fact, these 2 products are the main reason why I have been getting so many compliments lately. First one is niacinamide. This is from a brand called The Ordinary, and if you're on a budget, this is literally only $10. So as far as bang for your buck goes, this is hands down one of the best purchases that I made throughout all of 2024. That says a lot. I use this every morning. It's supposed to balance out your skin. So if you have any impurities, maybe discoloring or anything along those lines, it's supposed to help you with that. And for me, and I've honestly noticed that it's been doing exactly that. But like I mentioned earlier, the main thing that I've really been struggling with is bags underneath my eyes. So I decided to try an eye serum from a brand that I hear everybody talk about called Paula's Choice. I heard a lot of hype about this brand on social media and from people that I know personally. So I decided to give it a go for myself. And what do you know? This product has been working wonders. Now, everything that I use is going to be linked in the description. But like I said, it all depends on your budget. I know sometimes it's hard to do, but if you can, try to invest a little bit more money to get high quality skincare products. And of course, the more the better. But if you're just starting off, and especially if you're on a budget, just get the essentials. In my opinion, the main essentials is a cleanser and a moisturizer. And like I said, the niacinamide is only $10. So if you could pick that up, that'd be great as well. These 3 things should make a big difference. And eventually later down the road, you can start experimenting with other products based on things that you struggle with. Now, the main thing that I can tell you is you have to be consistent. For me, I always struggled with consistency when it came to my skincare. I'd use it for about a week, maybe about a month, and I'll notice some good results. Then I'll start to fall off because I'm like, hey, my skin looks good. I could skip a night. Then that night became 2 nights. Next thing you know, I stopped doing skincare and my skin wasn't looking as good as it should be. Another thing that helps a ton is shaving. Now I know this sounds a little bit weird, but when I started using a real razor instead of just an electric trimmer, it almost gave my skin some sort of exfoliant, which made my skin feel softer, smoother. And of course, some of this just comes down to not having hair get in the way. And especially if you use a razor to get rid of all of it instead of just the top, it makes your skin feel less prickly, therefore a lot more soft. Another thing was about the habits that you have when it comes to your face. I used to have the worst habit at picking at my pimples, which is a main issue when it comes to a lot of teenagers. I remember I would be sitting in class, just dazed off, not thinking about anything. And I'll notice that my hand was directly on my face, picking at the pimples that I had. And that left me with a lot of acne scars. Of course, I regret it. Had I just been more aware of what my hand was doing, had I been more disciplined to not touch my face, despite you really wanting to get rid of those pimples in the time being, it's gonna be worse for you in the long run. So think about it. You have an edge on me. If you're a teenager right now and you're thinking that my skin looks better than yours, maybe it does right now. But if you control yourself and don't touch your face, in a few years, your skin is gonna look better than mine possibly can. Of course, I'm working on my acne scars. I'm still finding out products to help me get rid of them. The thing is with skincare, there's a lot of BS out there and it sucks. It means there's gonna be a lot of money that you're wasting and it not giving you the results. But that's what I mentioned earlier, trial and error. You're gonna try new things. Some of them are gonna work, some things aren't. That's just the reality of it. And of course, different skincare products work better for different people. Skincare is definitely a long journey, but if you take the right steps forward, you will notice you're gonna fix your skin for the better. And it's gonna look the best that you ever have, inevitably resulting to you feeling the most confident that you ever have. That is the exact boat that I am, and the skin that I have right now has definitely resulted in me glowing up. And if you wanna know the 10 items that really made me glow up in the last 3 months, here's a video that's gonna show you exactly that.